What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we talked about Palantir. I want to go over some of the recent data points, what's been coming up from the company itself, and given everything, where I see things going next. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So very volatile day for Palantir. Briefly did break that $20 mark. It had a high of around 2020, a low of 1955, currently down 1.2%, and 20.7 million shares have been traded so far within the first about 2.5 hours of the trading day. 64 is the average. So today is going to be a little bit low for the volume. At the time of doing this video, no SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. So it is just piggybacking off of the broader market of sorts. There's not really anything negative for Palantir as it stands. A lot of bullish articles, and you can kind of tell based on this, these are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market over $100,000. So big money is buying, just not anywhere close to yesterday or similar other days. But then again, today is Friday, so that might have some factor to all of this. But I'm going to go over some of the data points, starting off with options. So based on, like I said, the first 2.5 hours or whatever else so far, $4.16 million in calls have been purchased versus 1.93 million in puts. So based on this information, people are very optimistic, anticipating for it to continue to trend up. And 54% of all the options today so far has been bullish. And looking at the specifics for the calls, this shows all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this information, it is anticipated to be between the $21 and $22 mark by the end of next week. So kind of positive for that. Looking at the puts, it is anticipated to be sub $19. Both make sense based on the technical, so I'll break that down in a second. But going over shorts, and just for transparency, I'm not here to say Palantir is a short squeeze play by any means. I'm just bringing this up as a benchmark. But currently shorts are returning 1.29 million shares. 7.02% of the free float is being shorted, but 135.96 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is very low, so 0.56%. So like I mentioned, just the fundamentals here, it's not a squeeze play. I just like to use this as a benchmark because, for instance, how you analyze this, by shorts returning this amount of shares and it being a red day, it shows that they feel like there's not really, it's not justified ultimately. So it's not justified to be red, it should be green, and they do see more upside coming, especially if you kind of look at this information right here through the interactive broker short availability, does indicate that there's more than 10 million shares available to be shorted. So if shorts really felt that Palantir was overbought or due to go down, they could easily double down. And even more so, looking at the cost to borrow, it is very cheap to kind of short. So who knows? I see this as bullish, if you ask me, similar to the options activity. As of late, there has been no real analyst ratings. So the last one was from Bank of America, Mariana, who does have a 69% success rating and did give a $21 price target. So very optimistic based on that. Last couple ratings weren't necessarily the best from Deutsche, RBC, William Blair, and even though they are giving subpar ratings, if you do look at this, which is all the analyst estimates for the upcoming earnings all the way into end of Q4 2024, they are anticipating even by then it to be at around 0.08 cents for the earnings per share. So a lot of analysts do see Palantir still continuing to grow well into 2024. And even if you look at the revenue, it is estimated to have roughly about $716.03 million in Q4 2024 for revenue. And even looking back so far, Palantir typically does beat the estimates. I believe they've always beat them. So once again, I think that's a fairly good thing. So even though there is subpar ratings, they do see upside coming. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as analyst ratings, forecasts, and everything under the sun, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments. But let's talk on the technicals. So last time it was at, I think, 1950. I did say based on all the data points, it is all bullish and the upside was coming. So currently with it at $19.92, it is between this P and this R1. So 1879 is that next strong support, which it kind of bounced off of a couple days back. And then $21.61 is going to be that next strong resistance. So this is where, like I mentioned, both make sense based on the option. So people are anticipating for it to be sub $19. Vice versa, those that are bullish are anticipating for it to be above 22 or between the 21 and 22. So all the options activity is just merely piggybacking off of the technicals, and looking at this, so the momentum shows number of retail investors, oddly enough, are getting out today and have been getting out ever since November the 20th. Stochastic, you do see it at 44, no defined trend right now, but it is neutral, so it's not really considered overbought, it's not oversold, it is just there. But even though I like to look at a lot of these data points and give you a good viewpoint on where support and resistance points are, a lot of people like to look at the Elliott wave. So I'll give you a quick overview of that. And once again, this is on Interactive Brokers, so even more reason to take advantage of that and sign up for all this information to be completely free. But based on the Elliott wave, it does have the pivot point being $17.10. So if it can actually stay above this 17.10, then in the short term, so within the roughly about 2 months, give or take, it is anticipated for it to be between the $24 and $25.40 range, which is very optimistic. And like I've even said, I think based on my last video, I felt that around $23 is kind of realistic, at least in the short term. So this is even more bullish than what I have kind of previously thought. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. But even going back over to the options, if we zoom out over the last 7 days, a lot of optimism. So people do see Palantir continuing to trend up, even though it's a lot of volatility in the short term. Bigger and better things are coming. And so, of course, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys always do your own due diligence. So let me know your thoughts on Palantir. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Palantir? Let me know in the description below. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And if you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.